Ooh. Crooked. Hello. How are we today? Okay, I guess it might not be too bad. Looked like the sound was going to be kind of funky, but it looked like it's all right. Okay, I guess it might not be too bad. All right. Looked like the sound was going to be kind of funky, but it looked like it's all right. Okay, so it might not be too bad. All right. The sound was gonna be kind of funky, but it looked like it's all right. Okay. Hey, Miss Barbara, thank you for joining me. Hey, Miss Barbara, thank you for joining me. The Vikings were Russians. Vikings were Russians. The Vikings were Russians. Vikings were Russians. The Vikings were Russians. What's happening? What's happening? Yes, absolutely. The Vikings were a culture. They wasn't one people. That's why when they get you to believing that it's just blue-eyed people, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Russians, that's bogus. Having some equipment malfunction. Well, for some reason, equipment's not responding. Oh well. Oh well. Guess we can get. Absolutely. The Vikings were a culture. They wasn't one people. That's why when they get you to believing that it's just blue-eyed, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Russians. That's bogus. That was some equipment malfunction. All right, so. Oh well. For some reason. What's going on, Barbara? Equipment's not responding. Good to see you, Barbara. All is well, I hope, with you and everyone. Adam, what's happening? Yes, absolutely. Vikings were a culture and a way of life. That's why you see it all the way down to England. It was a culture, but they want to say that that it was one separate thing and not really a culture. So, the Vikings in Russia came as traders, not conquerors. They first appeared in the region in the 6th century and had some run-ins with the Khazars. Hey, CJ, how you doing? Sound good? Glad you came on. Yeah, this stuff ain't working for some reason. Because I bought actually another mic, and it does not appear to be working. Well, thank you, SD. Dread, how you doing? Original Vikings and Spartans were melanated? Could be. Spartans, definitely. We know the Etruscans were melanated people. So, well, I guess I'll give the sounds in the end and just go from here. No, it's good to have the sounds. Give me a little protection. I'll just clear some energies with these symbols. Woo. So, yeah, I'm not sure Not sure, but that's all right. We'll move on. Um, Start. I'm going for about 5 minutes. Lorenzo, what's happening? Thank you for joining. And so I guess I'll start instead of doing the sounds. I'll do the sounds afterwards. But I'll start saying that, welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. A little technical difficulties getting on tonight. Got wires everywhere and still didn't work. So that's all right. We'll figure it out. It's not that big a deal. It is not that big a deal. But this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Big Pontiac. I am the holder of the Infinite Ball Game that's created by the Hero Twins. I am also your Galactic daddy sitting on my galactic patio, welcoming each and every one of you from Minnesota to the universe, wherever they must got. And then I drank all my beer earlier, so I'm just going to drink copper water. So pop them if you got them. We're still smoking on the Yukon Wolf, the Wolf Yukon. Smoke them if you got them. So get into it any way you can get into it. That's what I say. That is what I say. I'm a little distracted, so bear with me. Bear with me, but I'll get it together. I'm operating several, here we go. Several things right now. Several things right now. All right, it's not going through. All right. CJ says, how do you think melanated people react if we find out true history emotionally? We'll be able to handle it, all of us. Yeah, I mean, it's I would say almost all United States history is a lie. I mean, the way they say they conquer the country just makes no sense. And that's going back to with even Columbus and the Spanish. I mean, we have a greater look at when Cortez comes. It makes no sense. How did they sleep without dying? So that right in itself makes no sense. How were these people able to come on land and go to sleep? They only had 500 people. Now, I know a lot of people hated Montezuma, but tell me how they slept. That makes no sense to say that 500 people conquered, we don't even know how many millions. Just by rushing them for 24 hours with the technology they had, the manpower would have overwhelmed them. Even the Aztecs alone, their manpower would have overwhelmed them. So we know that a lot of these stories are not true. A.B. Brown, what's happening? Why do you think the Russians are so good at hockey? They are tough. The Russians are tough. Well, Canadians too. You can say Canadians as well. More likely, people don't like to admit that they have been fooled. Like what Dane says about Frederick Douglass, and what he says about especially Harriet Tubman. Again, you find the Tubman name with that back to that Liberia shit. That's where you find Tubman. You find Tubman in the Liberia. So I guess really, I don't think this will hurt anything. All right, just turn all this shit off because it ain't working. Not sure why, but it's just not working. Yeah, so like that makes a lot of sense the way Dane puts it, the way Dane puts things, because we know how much they lie. So the whole history, and I'll say if Mud Flood opened up anything, it opened up that how much they lied about history, and that history somewhere is not believable. Somewhere it has to be false. Somewhere it has to be, as my favorite word is manipulated. Somewhere we see that it has to be manipulated in there because the stories just don't make sense. Again, a battle in the 1880s or 1875, I can't remember. Again, out of nowhere, the Spanish are about to be defeated out of all of Mexico. And out of nowhere, 30,000 natives come and help the Spanish from being wiped out. Now, where did these 30,000 come from? Who gathered 30,000 to be able to get them in time not to be wiped out? Do you know how long it takes to put together 30,000 people
and feed them and move them in the precise time. I mean, that story alone just doesn't make sense. Cortez's story doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense. That so many Indians hated him. I'm about to order a book about that. You know, one of they call him the native conquistador. But it's just more lies. Oh, you're from Canada. Yeah, Canada's hockey king. Well, Minnesota's hockey king. Detroit is hockey town. uh, Tubman was a CIA agent, and she owned land in New York. And you're a slave on land. I don't think she was a real person at all. I think that this was like Dane showed that this is what the government put together. This is what the government, to push that slave narrative and think everybody was slaves and not admit about the true taking of the land and the true changing the East Coast people that they enslaved, changing them and saying they came from Africa. Because again, it was all about the land. Because if you see how the laws have been passed around the world on native people getting their lands back, where America doesn't want to get their lands back. As I mentioned last night, you can't cry about these oil they put over these native lands because the Americans took all the land. So do you think they care? They gave them those little bits of land after they took all the whole country. So it's still technically their land, so they can put oil anywhere the fuck they want to. Those people really have no stand. Okay, to show you they're not an independent country inside of our country, which nobody would ever do. You would never set up an independent country inside of this country, sovereign country, because look at what they did about the bug. They was affected by government mandates, not their own mandates. I mean, fuck, they really could have said, fuck you. But even it came to a point where the CDC had to go into, because remember, South Dakota was like, okay, none of you motherfuckers can come through this property. There was parts of South Dakota, they wasn't letting people go through. They was cutting them off. And the government sued to make them stop doing that. Because the government's saying, you motherfuckers is bringing this shit in, so we're not letting none of y'all in. And so they took that. They sued the South Dakota government to allow them to still come up in there. So it's their pipelines. Hey, Stacy. Nah, the character Tupac is playing something else now. It is playing entirely something else. I was told. Oh, okay. I was told today of a Gnostic store that Motivite was created from a meteorite that fell from the sky. Now it's rare and not many pieces left. That's why it's so expensive. Wanted to run that past you. Well, yeah. It's well, the what happened was there's a couple ways of looking at it. One theory was that when it came down, it blew up in the atmosphere and it rained down on basically the Czech Republic. But what seems more unlikely, if you follow the bomb path, it appears like Motivite was mostly put in one place at one time, and whatever it was blown that way, because you can follow that flight path as well. So when it was blown into the atmosphere and came back down. But what's making it more rare is that they've closed the park where they mined it. That's why it's so rare today. They've closed the area. But yeah, all my pieces, I mean, like this, like it was banging, but this big piece I wear, this is like almost tripled in price. That piece. So all of it, all my pieces, I have 5-6 pieces, but my big nuggets have all tripled in price. But it's not mined anymore. That's the biggest why it's the expensive. Is they closed down the mining of it. So all you're seeing is older stock. But some of this stuff has been around since the 50s. I know it got popular in the last 10 years, but it's been around that long. Robert Simmons, that owns Heaven and Earth out in Vermont, he wrote the guy that wrote this first paper about Motivite in the America, old journal. And the guy talked to him for hours. And this is how Robert Simmons got involved. And I forget the name sometime of Heaven and Earth, but Heaven and Earth is the name. He also sells crystals. Some of his bigger crystals, I will admit, are pricey. But his smaller crystals are decently priced. I will also admit that. His smaller crystals are decently priced. And so if you want smaller crystals, Heaven and Earth really isn't a bad opportunity. to get the smaller crystals. And like I was saying last night, you know, my friend Christina says the energy is too much for her. I don't really get that out of it. Again, that's not what I pull out of it. Because it's as I was saying, you know, oh, here we go. So as I was saying last night, it's how you use it. It's how you use it. Tubman was definitely controlled opposite. You might make it out a $20 bill. Yeah, they already put Maya Angelou in the quarters. Recently, a family member passed away, and my reality seems different. Are some things I do remain grounded? What are some things I can do to remain grounded? Depending on what part of the country you're in, you can go outside and get grounded. The earth will ground you. If you don't have that, if you have house plants, you can get a little dirt from the house plants and put it under your feet. You know, don't smush it into your floors or your carpet, nothing like that, but put it under your feet. You know, get your feet a little bit. Just, you know, you ain't got to empty them out, just a little dirt and put them under your feet. That'll help ground you as well. Now, if you got any black crystals are very grounding, almost all of them. So it really doesn't matter what type of black crystal. I mean, even Numite, you could do it. So that's a good way too. Now, if you don't have those, but if you don't have those options, I mean, again, if you don't live in a snowy area, you can lean up against a tree. And if you do live in a snowy area, you can lean up against a tree, and the tree goes deep into the earth, and then kind of mingle with the consciousness of the tree a little bit as you lean up to it. You know, ask the tree. That's what you need to do. You need the grounding, and so you ask the tree that if you can, you know, go into the roots, go into the darkness of the deep roots, and that can help too. And maybe that can get you on board. So that's the easiest ways. If you know, if it's warm where you are and you can just go out in the dirt, that's great. Do that. But if it's not, it's snow, a tree will help too. But again, you've got to take a minute to connect with the tree and make sure you are talking, because this time of year you really want to talk to what's below the tree. You want to talk to the roots. So try that, and I hope that works for you. And I'm sorry, you know, I've had a lot of friends that have been having, you know, some of these kind of mishaps, and I'm sorry to hear that, because it's almost like some ways to be these attacks on us, because it's like I had a bunch of things going today, and then like even the equipment crapping out. You know, it's like the equipment worked yesterday. Like what changed from yesterday to today, which would make the equipment stop working? And all of a sudden, you know, I bought another microphone. It's not working with the equipment. Even the microphone that came with the equipment is still not working. So I'm not sure what's going on with it. So it just shows you that you got to keep going. You got to keep going. So, okay. I hope those little things. I mean, it's kind of hard, you know, sometimes put on the spot ideas of what was coming. It's like, and I don't think he'll mind telling me this, but like even with Conspiracy University, we had a little conversation, and what the guides brought up to take out a headache, and you know, I really wanted to run it by him first, but it is kind of wanky, but it brought up some other possibilities I asked him too, but one thing you can do for a headache too, because if you look at bread and the way bread absorbs, and you can kind of find the area where the headache is coming from, and then you can take the bread and kind of hold the bread over, and then what you do is you ball the bread into a ball. You ball into a ball, and then you keep smushing it. Like once you make it into a ball, and then you just smush it down until you pound it into almost nothing. You just kind of, you know, you're just pounding in that pressure, so you're relieving it, because a lot of times headache is you're bringing in too much energy. So, but it's like you know, just saying that is just a lot of people don't understand how that could work for them, and so a lot of people would try it and really wouldn't be effective, and that's why I hesitated the other night to say it. But that's technically one way you can. Now, not saying it's going to work for everybody, because again, magic is not going to work for everybody every time. So, does drilling in the crystal? No, it's fairly common. You know, when you want to make necklaces, you want to make bracelets, yeah, the crystals don't seem to be affected. Sometimes when you break them, it does affect them. Like I felt so bad when I chipped this one. But the reality is that crystals are fragile, other than the harder crystals, but crystals are fragile. It's like this piece, I waited a year to get this piece. And this was all smooth one time. This just is, nothing I did on purpose. It's just I have so much stuff and just stuff falling on it. And this was like $90. This wasn't cheap. And this has a lot of energy, but accidentally it's got, it's been places and stuff is knocked on it and stuff. So um crystals are almost like glass in some ways. So no, drilling in them really doesn't take anything away from them. A lot of times the crystals don't mind having a different life, and instead of just being a single crystal by itself, it's going to be part of a bunch of crystals together, a string of crystals, so yeah, it doesn't really affect them. Yeah. What's happening, Keith? Thank you for joining me. So those are just some little things. Couldn't find everything I wanted to find for this presentation, but I will. I think I have enough. Oh, okay. I think I have enough to do what I want to do. And so, okay. See where I can go. Okay, after this destruction, the Pape Ball begins to relate stories of the hero twins, Hanuhapu and Zablanki, demigods. The hero twins defeat the false sun and vanquish the gods of Zabala, setting the stage for the generation of true humans later in the Pape Ball. They take on Vakum Sebenmakal. It set himself up as a false sun with the support of his sons, Zapakana and Kabrakan, great blowgunners. The twins took their weapons and struck the bejeweled teeth of the Vakum Kaza and then tricked him to accepting corn gods as a replacement for his teeth. Unable to eat and deprived of the jewels that gave him his false radiance, Vakum was defeated and his sons were defeated thereafter. Then the story flashes back to the generation of Hanuhapu and his brother Vakum Hapu, such skilled ball players that their constant play disturbed the Lord Zugabala, who commanded that they come to Zugabala for a contest. Messengers owls, again the owls, the wise one, from guided the brothers into the underworld, where they failed one task after another. The day they arrived, they were sacrificed, and this is the hero twins' father, as I've talked about. And you see, he got a little skeet, and he skeeted on one of the demigods' daughters. He actually had two pair of twins, which were the Turin twins. Their grandmother hid their father's ball game equipment from the hero twins. They tricked her and became even more proficient ball players than their father. And once again, the lords summoned the ball players to the underworld. But the hero twins were not defeated by tests and traps for them. Instead, the gods fell to the heroes' traps. They used the mosquito to bite each god in sequence, and so the gods revealed their names. The Rumpelstiltskins. Part of their defeat, each day the hero twins played the lords on the ball court, and each night they were sent to different houses to be tested. And they survived several tests. Now, as I've shown before many times, these are the oldest statues in America that the Spanish weren't able to destroy. These are the oldest statues, not made by Europeans, but made by the Americans that they were able to save. And as you can see, they were once part of something bigger and greater, but this is that they had to break these pieces off. These are the hero twins. This is their representation. And again, as you see, the start of the sacred ball game, this is looked at as an early face mask. But again, you see the helmets. And each face is distinctive. These faces aren't identical. Each face is very distinctive. Okay. And my point in showing that is this is where the ball game starts to be spiritual. And this is monument Q. And as I've showed many times, this part right here is the early face mask. That is the distinctive part, and I'm one of the few that point this out, especially on YouTube. This part is the face mask. But these coverings, and this is the only one that's facing up. As you see, he's facing up. And this is the only one that faces up instead of straight forward. But what we see is each holy person representing the hero twins. That's why they wear the helmet. They represent the ball player. The ball player is the most holiest of person. You know, you have what's called a ball player king or ball player king, a royal ball player. And this is why, as I've said before, this is a spiritual thing that they've taken over and they've corrupted. That is why all the pageantry, because they've taken over a spiritual system and they know that the spiritual system can tap into. And so they use their corruption and, you know, their left-handed magic, their negative magic to control the masses, control the minds, control the masses. And this is one of the oldest balls. That's rubber. Of course, this is rubber from 1,500 years ago. And it came in all different sizes. So they've created something that the rest of the world didn't do. That's why when they try to talk that bullshit about what, you know, them in America, all you got to do is show them. You just have to show them. They didn't practice any of this. This is strictly an American thing. And this wasn't practiced anywhere else. Of all the things that they shared with the pyramids and the other things, they did not practice the ball game anywhere else. There was nothing like it anywhere else in the world as practiced in the Americas. Again, another example of that middle piece. So not only did they invent the helmet, they also invented the face mask. This was not for war. So I don't want anybody to say the Spartans and shit and the Romans, legions wore helmets. Yeah, they didn't wear helmets as leaders. And this is what the reason for the heads are. And the heads were always next to parks. They were always next to parks. And then again, here we go again. You know, the part's not as defined, it's more worn out. And the most famous one, head one, they tried to destroy. But again, this is some of the hardest stuff there is. And they didn't really, you know, they could swing on it all day. It's not really hurting this stuff. This is basalt. Basalt is one of the hardest stones. And I don't know if I can find head one. Imagine it's in here. But a lot of this stuff was destroyed on purpose. I mean, one of the things you see from the Moors talks about the Smithsonian Institute and all they destroyed. I mean, look at this beautiful art here. There was nothing, you know, hardly close to this. And you can tell they destroyed it because look at the detail. Look at the hair. Again, flattened head in the back, but look at that detail. And that's why you see this stuff destroyed. This stuff was the detail was so great. This was probably the best one ever discovered. And you see how they had to destroy this? Look at that detail. And this is why it's destroyed. It's not destroyed through time. It's destroyed on purpose. Because they didn't want to show you how much beautiful artwork there was. Look at that detail. What kind of tools did this? But again, they had to destroy this. And we see this over and over again. And then you see again the transformation. The transformation. to your wild side or your other side. Very common. Very common in the Omen kingdom, in the Omen world. And again, here's another representation of the leader. We have the ear spools, but again, we have the helmet of the leader. And of course, they changed over time, but we have the helmet of the leader. And we have the ear spools that, big giant ass book. I'm sorry, I missed. Let me see, where did I miss? Hey James, how you doing? Yeah, NFL is definitely rigged. I like your responsible daddy. I watched a replay earlier today. You said something about showing the positive side of fathers. I commend you for that. Oh, absolutely. It is so much negative things about all fathers right now. As in our world, there's so many things negative about a father. And as I've showed that commercial for Taco Bell, it showed the European family with a father and a mother, but it shows a single mother with 2 children. I mean, how negative can that be? Why couldn't it show 2 families? That's on purpose. That's on purpose, and that's negative. That's not positive. That's negative. So that's and we have all the back and forth between each other. We had the push of the educated woman, and what we see, the push of the educated woman and the Supreme Court justice. So do you see how they do us? The push of the educated woman that we saw, you got to have a job if you want to be with me. You don't need them. It started with Claudine. It went from you don't need them to be on welfare to get welfare, and then you get these college loans, and you have this line of the Boule women that again was pushing that you don't need no man. And then it went into some of the LBGT stuff. So what God did to the daughter? Well, I missed that. I'm not sure. That's something you guys been saying. PJ, what's happening? I didn't see PJ in here. Yeah, I don't know what people didn't do. Lakers shaming don't end. No, I don't end. You wearing 0-4 Super Bowl gear. I still look fresh. And the day is for the purple day. That's the color. But thank you, Lorenzo. It's very kind. I don't know what you mean. What guy did to what? I pick up my daughter. I commend you for that, because these guys on here always complain about how so-called black fathers get railroaded by women in the system. However, you notice some of them don't mention their children. Yeah. I mean, what Sly did, found out the one dude. Yep, Devontae, definitely. The one guy had children that he don't even mess with. How is that? I mean, I was denied access to my one daughter, and really, I wish I'd had to. I kind of regret I didn't take it to court. I really do. Lifetime of relationships that's just lost. She don't know me, and she knows I'm her father. Never have, never happened to begin with. Yeah, I got 8, so. That's because many of them are not in their kids' lives. That's why they advocate to younger men not to have children. Exactly. I mean, again, that's genocide by our own people. That's a genocide by our own people, telling them not to have children. And then saying they don't want to get married and all this. And the negative side, they're still good men and they're still good women. It's just these talking faces out here to make you think that's not. I mean, every man, every woman ain't for you. You're 41, don't have any children? Okay. Single mothers are the worst. Not all the time. He was reading something in the book. Oh, okay. LeBron wants those 6 rings. He got to sacrifice someone. Yeah, probably the mama is my guess. Thinking they're going to go after the mama. Well, I mean, child support can be bad, and it is rigged. Child support is a rigged system that favors women. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's like they came after me for child support. The 6 months my children were given to my ex, but when it came to her, because she gets, what is it, SSI, she doesn't, you can't go after that with child support. And that's some shit. So she didn't have to pay me shit. They didn't put charges on her. They was like, well, we can't go after her. But with a man, even if they can't go after a man, they still put them charges in there that you still owe this amount. They never did that to her. And that's the system is rigged against men, but you have to get over that. Now, should think about who you mate with? Definitely. You have to be more responsible in that regard. But one thing that we're always going to see is people going to get pregnant. And, when people are in the mood, sometimes things happen. So, yeah, I wouldn't say you couldn't be. Do you think getting married in these times is a trap for a man? Not if he finds a good woman. Like Marco says, your reflection. You find your reflection, like they say, your other half. And that's who you should marry. You should marry your best friend. And of course, I'm talking about in the female kind of way, but you should marry your best friend, the one you vibe the highest with. And if it's good enough for both of you, why not? There's nothing wrong with it. I've been married 3 times. And the problem was my first wife wasn't my best friend. We really weren't friends. Other than I loved her, we really weren't friends. We really didn't have the same, like she went along with me doing sports, but she really couldn't, like if I like to play pickleball now, even her own age, she just is too girly to even do that kind of thing. And so, I would have never had that in common, like just throwing baskets. I don't think all the years I knew her, I ever saw her throw a basket. I don't think I ever saw her run. So, so I don't think it's necessarily a trap. Yeah, his grandmother may have been sacrificed for this season. Could have been. What crystals are good for finding a good woman to come into your life? Attraction? I don't know. I'd have to really research that. I don't know if there's a quick. This book is for diseases, and I don't know if there's a quick reference. I would have to look that up. I guess one you could use is Rocronzanite. Let me see. I took the box of crystal cards in my room. Rocronzanite. So I don't know how to spell that shit. But that's just the pinkness. That's the crystal of the heart. So that can bring attraction to you. Treat men like kings. I mean, I don't know. But you got to live overseas or you got to bring them over here. So I don't know. That's a good thing. You're amazing the way you speak of women, even though you have a few marriages, you're still not hating on them. You're a good man. Well, thank you, Stacy. No, I ain't got nothing just over. It ain't everybody. You said no, I'm the only man here. I'm the only man here in Minnesota. I'm one of the few men here in Minnesota that won custody of their children. Yeah. One of the very few here in Minnesota to win custody of their children, because it's just not very common for men to get custody of their children. It's just not very common at all. So, yeah. But I mean, love is never going to go away, and love is supreme. And so there's no greater feeling than being in love with somebody. Now, what we see is a lot of bitter people that can't let go of that bitterness. And probably it pushes away women because they're so bitter. These people become so bitter that a lot of times you see that they don't attract something anymore because they're so bitter about what happened before. And then you have these gangs of people that have made it a business to talk about women. That, like I talked about last night, the wretchedness of our people. Or maybe I mentioned that earlier today. So saying that we just wretched people, and that's not the case. Because all the sisters ain't bad, all the brothers ain't bad, all the sisters ain't good, all the brothers ain't good. It's kind of a mixture. All Europeans ain't bad, all Europeans, not good. I mean, it's the individual. And if you see yourself in a loving situation and going with both eyes open, I mean, if you got most of the bread, you write up the forms about the money and stuff to protect the money and get the money to your children or your family, however you want it. If you got the money, she got the money and she wants to get with you, but she wants to put that together, go with it. Go with it. Go with it. Because that's only fair. But if she's treating you equally and you just both are growing as you together, that's kind of how it can work. I mean, marriage can still work. There are a lot of happy married people. I mean, most people are married. Most adults are married. I mean, just walk around and see for yourselves. Walk around and see. And of course, you know, in the hood, it might be a little different. But if you just go to regular America, you're going to see the majority of men and women are married. See, they don't want to put that out there. Hey, strong discernment. Thank you for joining me. They don't want to tell you the majority of people are married. So, so there is, you know, I've been played by more European women than I have sisters. I've had sisters that I guess had my back in all aspects. I've had European women that had my back. I've had European women that attacked me as well. So, you know, um, uh, I've had people take advantage of that because I got dyslexia and I don't read things quite right. And I've had women, my daughter's mother was taken. I had to catch her in some shit, you know. And you know, I've since we worked so closely together, I've forgiven her, but I caught her in the shit, and I'm like, you know, this proves what you did, and you know, so. Um, well, that's okay, Devontae. We all got our own opinions. That's all right. But overseas women are amazing. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Like my brother's saying, my brother lived in Germany and he was like the women was funky because they don't clean. You know, I was talking about Tony Kukoc and some of them dudes that come from Europe. The women is the same way. You know, they don't clean the same way. They don't smell the same way. So you got to consider a lot of those things. What country are you talking about too? Now, if you're talking about just going to South America, that ain't overseas. That's just going further south. But if you're talking about going over to Europe, you're gonna find the good and you're gonna find the bad. I mean, it just depends on the situation. So to say that that's just a good thing overall, I would say that's cap. So I mean, can you go over there and find somebody? I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. You got enough money to go over there and enough money to, you know, help her out a little bit. Of course, they're gonna treat you a certain kind of way because they're looking at you in some ways as a come up because they think Americans have money. So I mean, you gotta go into it with your eyes wide open. So, but there's plenty of women here in America now. You know, young women. You just got to look at the generation we seeing. You know, we seeing people in their 20s and 30s. You know, some of these people was affected by the crack age, and so these people, and especially these women, weren't really raised how to be proper women. I mean, we have a generation of people that weren't raised. You know, they pretty much raised themselves. He says Australians are nice. I didn't go to no Germany. Hey, Chief Blazing, your boys got stomped tonight, Chief, and your boys got stomped tonight on national TV. Australians are nice, okay, but it's like a 30 hour trip to 25 to 30 hour trip on a plane to get there, and our money is long over there too. But so, I mean, it's what you can afford and what you can do, and it's nice people everywhere. It's nice people everywhere. Ah. But just to bash chicks, nah, I ain't, you know, I've been treated badly by chicks, but just to bash them, nah, I ain't got to do that. My, the synchronicity is off the charts for me lately. Just finished a heart chakra class. Glad I never sat in bitterness and I am healing well. I love regardless of my past pain. That's the way you got to look at it. You know, you have to forgive. You have to forgive to move on, or you'll keep holding on to that. Heat choked the game tonight. Yeah, they kind of cheated them at the end though. My Lakers and Blazers. Yep, yep. That play with Jimmy Butler. But I showed my video, watch my video showing they ain't passed the ball on purpose. The first time they got the ball, they had a couple people open. And then why wasn't there four people in the back court? They had two people trying to get the ball in an out of bounds play. That made no sense. That shows you right there it was fake. You know, that wasn't real. So with the Miami game. And then, you know, two people fouled him. They don't call nothing but a jump ball. So, of course, they set it up for them to win. So that was some bullshit. That was clearly some bullshit. So many manipulated shots. Yeah, you watch the game, you see it. You see it all the beginning of the Knicks games. Yeah, the young man I'm talking about, his name is, he's number 45 for the Knicks. He used to play at Texas. He's from up here. He's one of my friend's brother. I heard his name. He's got a short last name, but number 45 had a big afro. He's about 6'10", 6'11", but he's from up here. Trade Anthony Davis. I agree. Hey, homie, how you doing? What did the 8-win name mean? Well, it comes from It comes from let me see, eight win Jaguar claw. So it's 8 deer. Let me get this right, because it's two names. One is 8, and I got dyslexia, so I get a mix. So it's one name is, there's 8 deer Jaguar claw, or is it 8 wind? I don't have this stuff here, and I'm a little forgetful tonight. And this is more. This doesn't have the Totec in there, but it's a Totec, one of the Totec gods. 8 deer, 8 deer. It's 8. One name is 8 wind, and one name is 8 deer, and that's what it comes from. It comes from 8 wind. Let me see. It's 8 deer Jaguar claw and 8 wind flint eagle. So it comes from 8 wind flint eagle, and he was a Totec god. Hey, what's happening? Conspiracy, my man, my main man from Japan. The female refs be calling whack fouls. So that's where the 8 wind comes from. It comes from 8 wind flint eagle. That was his name, and he was a Totec king. The Natal Codex are Codex are about 8 wind Jaguar claw, or 8 wind flint eagle, and that's kind of how the names came. Again, 8 wind is the month he was born. Wind would be the month he was born. 8 would be almost the day he was born, and so that's what their names were in the Totex. In the Totex, that's how some of the names would be. And some of the Mayan, the names would be based on when you was born. So that's where that comes from. Yeah, that's all. Just giving love to the ancestors. Giving love to the ancestors. That's what that's about. Man, I'm bummed. Bought this new mic and everything, and it didn't work. And then the system stopped working. Bummed. System has kind of been trash for me. It works like part-time. It hasn't been consistently working. And today night, okay, they just changed something. All right, I see what they did. Oh, that's why the shit ain't working. Okay. Yeah, they just changed something. I have to start looking around. A shift just came in there. Like, okay, y'all fucking around. So they're fucking around. I felt it. I saw it. So something's changed. Won't let it distract me, but yeah, I felt it. And that's what they do. They try to, the tuners, like if you look at Dark City, the tuners come in and they, the shit, they don't like something and they come in and just change it a little bit and the shit won't work or something. The new Lakers series, yeah, probably. It's a fatherless America by design. Yeah, of course. They don't want children to have strong fathers. That's why Westbrook wearing a dress. That's why the dude from Atlanta, is wearing a dress. They want to feminize men. Hey, when is October? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. March, spring, right? Yeah, it's the first New Year comes in March. The other New Year comes in May. So it depends on which calendar you do. But it's two American calendars. South America, they give you the day out of time. May 26th is the day out of time. So, yep. But it's like 8 wind is, I'll look into it a little more to remember. What they doing with the Lakers, OG, I don't understand. Westbrook wore the dress, yet they're losing games. That's all right, but he's going to find fame in some other way. You see, he got that commercial. He got a commercial on this so-called business. So you see little gains some kind of way. And again, it could be this is their season to rest, because if they ain't got to play in the playoffs or one series, they get to rest. Are they waiting? Bron gives up his mama. Are they waiting for Bron to give up his mama? Could be. But a lot of times when they give these losing seasons, the losing seasons be seasons to rest. So you ain't got to play in June. Westbrook is overrated. Yeah, that was the stupidest trade. Rob Pelinka, there's no way he knows basketball to trade away Kuzma and trade away Caldwell Pope, because he was their best spot-up shooter. They haven't replaced that spot-up shooter. Carmelo hasn't been consistent as that brother was. So that made no sense to get rid of him. Not for a dude who can't shoot. Hey, Samuel, what's happening? How you doing? Now, the media talking about Lakers making the playoffs. I don't know. They, 11th, 12th seed? I mean, the GTO. Oh, okay. I don't know. But, yeah, Westbrook, nobody trades for him. You'd have stuck him in Washington with that big-ass contract and left him alone. and you'd have kept your assets. I wouldn't have traded for Anthony Davis. They didn't need Anthony Davis. They could have brought other big men just to guard when they played teams with big men. Again, you gave up all those assets, all those number one picks to get Anthony Hurt Davis. That's what his name should be, Anthony Hurt Davis, because he's hurt all the time. He is always hurt. You've scared of him to jump in the air. They should tell him don't jump in the air no more. How long will the lockout go? I don't know. I mean, people lose interest in baseball real quick. So that's what they got to do, because fans will turn away and say, fuck baseball. These spring football leagues about to pop up. You know, people love football and people will get into football. Lillard comes back and they make the play in the game with the Lakers. This NBA hates Bron. He must do something that exasperated the screenwriters. I don't know. I don't know about that. He's still the face of the league. A Disney. He's still the face of the league. That's funny. LeBron's still the face of the league. That's why they want him to play. That's why Tom Brady played for so long. They had nobody to really fulfill his place. They're trying to build up Burrows. Yeah, they're going to bring a new face of the league, because Stafford is still part of the old guard, if you really look at it. So they're trying to build up these old dudes. Because remember what happened with the Rams. You know, the Rams lost a couple of years ago to the Patriots, and then they was rewarded with this Super Bowl this past year. So don't be surprised Cincinnati put in that situation again. But as always, you know, teams that lost or never won it, they tend to not let them win it. So depending on who they face. And again, the bet this year, even if you bet with Cincinnati, you won money. I still think Curry versus Curry, Nets versus, I'm rolling with that too. Jalen's last name should be Davis and Anthony should be Hurt. That's funny. Smooth, mixed, light-skinned goddess. What's happening? Yeah, Stafford's like 34. He's kind of the older. Yeah, he's the older generation. You know, not old as Brady, but definitely like Rodgers, old as Rodgers. Curry versus Curry. I can see that too. I feel Burrow is the next Brady very well. I think I could agree with that in some ways, because it is. What is Dwight Howard doing? He's sitting on the bench, you know, throwing up three. So the crowd look down at him, you know. Somebody make a good play, he the first one, you know. So he wasted his talent. He was hurt when he was in LA the first time. Well, not when they won the title, but when he was in LA the very first time, when he was still somewhat of his peak. But he was hurt most of that season, so it wasn't fair. You know, Kobe was hard on him, and he played hurt that whole year. So it was hard on him. So, yeah. When Brady said, when Brady and Brian lose in the playoffs, they always lose to the teams who end up winning the title, so they don't look bad for losing. That's a good point. Mascot Howard, yeah, he's up there. You know how the dudes on the bench in the final in the March Madness is. Also sells. Westbrook and Durant also sells, but LeBron versus KD always sell. Yeah, I would say not Westbrook so much anymore. Warriors all the way. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure who they're gonna let win. I got a feeling they're gonna let the Sixers win this year. I think Steph has had his run, so I just don't really see them. I don't know. I think Steph has had his run. And so I wouldn't be surprised of the Sixers winning, because either way, it's going to be a Wilt thing. Either way, it's going to be a Wilt thing. That's why I still wonder. Yeah, because Wilt quit playing with the Warriors in 65. That's when they moved. Yeah, so Wilt 67, it was the Sixers when he won in 67. But then Wilt did get traded out to the Warriors, because at one point, Nate Thurman and Wilt played together at one point. LeBron versus Warrior, the best storylines in years. Yeah, back then it was. They're pushing the Bulls this year. Yeah, I noticed that too. They are pushing the Bulls. How far they going east? Hard to tell. It's really hard. How far they going east? I couldn't really say. But yeah, I agree. They are pushing them too. Yeah, I see that. And so, you know, that's the thing about betting is, like, once you see the patterns. And it was like I said again, I saw the under and I jumped on that as much as I could. Again, I hedged my bets because there was one, as I said before, I did find one service that gave 5 points. and everybody else was giving up 4. And so again, if you took Cincinnati and took the 4 points, you won. You won your bet. Westbrook and Durant were teammates. Even Harden and Westbrook could someday happen. Yeah, I don't know. Tonight Harding was what, 2 rebounds and assists from a triple-double. They talked about Wilt Chamberlain today. His number, changed his number 13-1 because of Wilt. Oh, yeah. Wilt's number is retired. And yesterday was the anniversary of Wilt scoring 100 points, which with no 3-point plays. People don't realize how much Wilt hustled, how much Wilt was out on the fast break. Young Wilt played. There's one season where Wilt averaged more minutes per game than minutes allowed because of the overtime. He played almost every minute of the season. He played all 85 games one year, but actually it turned out he played more because of the overtime. So he played every minute of the season plus overtime. People don't realize how good an athlete Wilt was. A lot of people, they just talk about the older Wilt. But Wilt was a great athlete. They won't let Mahomes pass Brady. I think you're right about that. They definitely won't. 45, Sims. Yeah, Jericho Sims. His brother's name. Yeah, Isaiah's brother. No, I said his name. Isaiah's brother. Yep. Yeah, thank you, Lorenzo. Yep, that's him. He is from this area. I believe he went to Texas. Hey, the Mac Bone. Edward, what's happening? I'm working on a little something, bro. Potentially swipe an NBA game ball. If I get it, I'll be shipping it to join to Minnesota to do some surgery on it. I'd rather do x-rays, ultrasound, see inside it before I destroy it. But yeah, because I'd like to have somebody that specializes in chemicals look it over too. So that'd be cool. Somebody specializes in chemicals and we can prove, because without having because I don't have that specialty, but somebody that specializes in chemicals and then can point out, give us how Will scored 100 points. He out hustled everybody. Shoot, that year he scored 100 points. He averaged something like 40 some rebounds a game. Look at some of them games where he averaged 40 rebounds in the game. That would never be broken. Where he averaged, 35, 40 rebounds in the season? The year he averaged 50? Nobody will ever average 50 again. 50. That's the year he scored 100. He averaged 50 a game. No one's even come close. I think 35, 38 is about close as they get. Do you know how to average 50 points a game? Like when he scored 100, he had some 70-point games. He had some 60-point games. He had a bunch of 50-point games. He destroyed the league. And, of course, they wasn't going to let him win, but he destroyed the league. For 85 games, he destroyed everyone. And, no, they did not let him win. They only let him win 2 championships. But he destroyed the league. You've never seen a performance better than that year where he averaged 50. Never. All rounds. And I don't even think they counted block shots back then. So, Wilt was a human. Tell you what. Wilt has no competition. No, J.J. Redick says something. There's records that Wilt has. Wilt still owns over about 30 records that will never be broken. 50 a season, 100 points in one game. The rebounds, I think it was 40 rebound average the season he scored 50. Those kind of things won't be touched. Has the game always be scripted? Of course. Wilt had no competition. Well, you can't really judge him on that. He destroyed the competition he had given his time. So that's how you have to judge it. You can't judge it like nowadays, because back then he did have competition. And back then there were far more leagues. The 60, 61, they had the ABL. You always had the Eastern League. The Eastern League was older than the NBA. The Eastern League started before the NBA started. So there was leagues everywhere. The NBA just got more money and more script. And it's like people used to play in the NIT. That was bigger than the NCAA tournament. Nobody cared about the NCAA tournament. People wanted to play in Madison Square Garden in the NIT. That was the college highlight for years. You take Jalen Rose's dad, Jimmy Walker. Jimmy Walker turned out to NIT. Now, that team, Jimmy Walker, where did he go? Providence, I think. That team didn't win the NCAA tournament, but they didn't even go in the NCAA tournament. They went into the NIT. And that might have been one of the last years where it was highlighted. but that's where colleges wanted to go. They didn't care about the NCAA. I mean, John Wooden was one of the few that from the 40s and all the way to the 70s that went to the NCAA year after year after year and then finally won it in 65. Celtics stacked their teams to stop Wilt from winning. Of course. They put better teams around him. They made him the bad guy. They made Wilt the bad guy. They didn't want to let the one that scored all the points, the best athlete, be the best winner. They wanted to show you the teamwork and with the overabundance of the European players too. They wanted to show that would win. And basketball has always liked one team dominating. Okay. The sports interest you, so that's how. If you look at it, they made him Wilt the bad guy. Wilt was the bad guy, and then when Wilt had such strong teams that they couldn't deny him. I mean, hell, they was the first team that what did they go 67-15 or something like that. That was the original record that was broken. That was the best season. To that point, that was the best season ever. The 67, 68 team, I think it was, or it could have been the 67, 66, 67 team. But I think it was the 67, 68 team when the Sixers won with Wilt. That was, Wilt, Hal Greer, Chet Walker, right? Yeah, the guy from Ben Harbor, Chet Walker. I want to say Wally Jones was probably on that team. I can't think of number 54. He was their power forward. He got hurt the next year, and that hurt their chances of winning. But, again, all scripted. What's your all-time starting lineup in the NBA? I don't know. Strong discernment. I don't know. I like Wilt. I would always start with Wilt personally. But I like players that ain't really thought of because of their overall career, like Connie Hawkins. People don't think about him because, again, he was blackballed until he was 28 years old. So we don't know what he could have done in the league. I like Nate Archibald. The dude who led the last person to lead this assist and scoring. But, I mean, his ball handling, very few passes. Even though I say Earl Monroe didn't deserve to be on the top 75 team, you can't deny what he brought to pro basketball. He brought the spin to pro basketball, and you can't deny. And so, he's definitely a Hall of Famer, but all-time 75, not really. He shouldn't have been. Harding will always be the fake King James. LeBron is King James. Yeah, LeBron is King James. Yeah, he will be the fake King James. But that's all rolled up on if his mother was artificially inseminated, if that's what happened to her. So, So the leagues don't trust the players. The leagues have never really trusted the players. As I said, baseball was started by the players, and then the owners, the people who wanted to be the owners, end up taking over the teams. I don't have any indication that the Negro leagues were fixed. I don't know, and I haven't looked at the betting lines because that kind of stuff don't really exist anymore. And I imagine they had to be betting, but I don't think it was national betting like it was on baseball. Because remember, by the 20s, they was betting all around the country. I don't think the Negro leagues had that. But we know the National Baseball League has always been, Major League Baseball has always been, and basketball and football have always been scripted. I mean, as I said, going back to, let's see if I can grab this book without everything freaking falling on me. Going back to the first championship game. Well, the oldest one they go to is 1933. And, I've showed this picture again and again. I mean, you don't think that's scripted, to do it without the helmet? And there was some geometry. I showed this to Zach and Derek, and there was some geometry in this, and I just don't remember what it is. But, I mean, you don't think that's scripted right there? The guy with the helmet makes the pitch to win the game. That's totally scripted. So it's always been like that. The betting has always determined who's going to win or not. And so, like, this is a book of actors. And some actors made a lot of money, some don't. Some get the information, but all don't have to have the information. Shoeless Joe, yeah, there you go. But as I said before, Ty Cobb said all of them from 1912 up was all scripted. Baseball's lockout looking bad right now. These owners are greedy and they don't want to care. Yeah, it's over $22 million. What did it say? One on King James' birthday. Yep. He sure did. You notice guys don't come out of retirement like Jordan. Yeah. Why? Why keep taking that beating? Right now they hinting that Brady might not retire. He can't let it go. Boston Red Sox put baseball on script. Yeah, that comeback was ridiculous. Up 3-1 and you blow it. After they ain't won in forever. Same with the Cubs. The Cubs hadn't won in forever, and all of a sudden the Cubs is winning. No. And they kept the Cubs losing all them years. Yeah. Yeah, baseball. But baseball's always been like that. It's always been I mean, you can go back and just look at the seasons. Look at the stats, look at the seasons. You can follow it. You can see like I look through these old games and old films, and you can see the script. You can see the movie tackling, as I call it. You see that. That's always been a part of football. This is my knock on Russell and the Celtics. Russell didn't have many players that trained during the off season like today. There wasn't that many teams during the Celtics dynasty. I mean, that's the same thing as Wilt. But, well, I'll say this. They didn't get paid as well, but they did play in the summers. Like, I was talking about Connie Hawkins, and Connie Hawkins playing at Rucker Park. They started playing Rucker Park summer tournaments in the 50s. So when you're talking about the GOAT, mini GOAT, when you talk about mini GOAT was the first high school player that was allowed to play in the men's league when he was in, I think, 11th grade. He was playing against Wilton, and when he's in 11th grade over only, Earl Minigoat was only 6 foot, but they said he had a 50-plus inch vertical. That he one time blocked Earl's shit. He blocked Will Chamberlain's shot. Then Will dunked the next 10, but Earl at 6 foot got up there and beat Will's shit. Connie Hawkins played in that game. He even witnessed that. And the best dunk of all time was done in a pickup game by Earl Moneygoat, where he did a 720. So he jumps around the free throw line. The first dude makes contact with him. Earl spins, and still in the air, he contacts another person, spins off him, and then dunks it. He spun off 2 people and still was high enough, elevated enough, but that's the best dunk ever reported. Baseball is boring. Yankees need to win again. Yeah, baseball loves when they win. Baseball is boring. I don't know. I kind of like the slow pace of it. Why was Rodman? Rodman deserved it. He dominated the game where he didn't have to score. He was going to get you 30 rebounds, and he was going to lock down his man. No matter what size man he was going to lock down. Rodman, after they got rid of Rodman from San Antonio, watch how well Rodman played Tim Duncan when Tim Duncan used to destroy Shaq. Tim Duncan used to just destroy Shaq. And again, it's scripted, but when they wouldn't let him play, Shaq couldn't do shit with him. He got 5 rings, rebound, and one of the greatest defenders. Yeah. I agree with that. Yep. Sean King, the Rain Man dunk was authority. Yeah. I met him as a young man. And very sad what he had all those children, took a lot of his money away. Red Sox came back 3-0 against the Yankees. Yep, they sure did. It was bogus as hell. It's just not believable. What did he say? We just don't believe you, David. What part? We just don't believe you, David. Well, what part? That's a JFK, David Ferry. Well, what part didn't you believe? So, Pete Alonso came out saying some baseballs were manipulated to keep guys from hitting a amount of home run for business. Yeah, they're juice balls. Definitely juiced up balls. Yep. Definitely juiced up balls. 3-0 comebacks aren't real. No, it's too hard, too taxing on you. You get tired. David Ortiz was good for the Yankees. Was too good for the Yankees. I don't know about that. He wasn't good when he played here. Remember, David Ortiz played here 4 or 5 years, and he wasn't very good when he played here. So he wasn't Big Poppy when he played here. He wasn't winning shit when he played for the Twins. Twins had benched him at one point because he wasn't a very athletic person. But again, perfectly script for them. Boston strong. You see how they put all that together? how they put all that together, the Boston Strong, and even how they threw games for Boston. Remember the game when Pedro Martinez should have been taken out, and the manager keeps him in, and he gives up 1 or 2 home runs to lose it for the Red Sox. So where anybody else would have took his ass out. I don't believe baseballs are manipulated because fans can keep them. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not manipulated. They're just made out of different sources. Like the juiced up balls, you ain't gonna take that ball and see anything. It's just the way it's made. They're float further. They're made a certain way where they float further. 3-0, and they beat them by like 13 runs before the Red Sox came back 4 straight. Yep. You drink tea and coffee, always see you with that copper cup. Not in this. They stain. Tea and coffee stains these. But yeah, I drink coffee in the morning, but not in these. They stain. Especially tea. Tea really stains cups. So I wouldn't put any tea in here. I think I got some cold tea. You know, I love sweet tea, but I cut out so much sugar. Yeah, but not just water. I drank 3 beers earlier. Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz, Boston had bats. Yeah, had pitching too. Johnny Damon, Grand Slam 04, Game 7. Yep. You know, is it Johnny? No, it wasn't Johnny Damon's brother that died. Red Sox would not be catching 27 chips. Still not catching 27 chips. No, they not. And baseball likes when the Yankees win, you know. Like even my homeboy Derek Jeter, you know, you had to look at some of them, like the one where the little boy touched the ball and they called it a home run and didn't take it away. So, yeah. It becomes very suspect, very, very suspect. Oh, okay. But that's just, you know, it's just good that more people are Sammy Sosa's the GOAT. All them, you know, they caught him the next season with a cork bat. And so it's no telling how many. And then they caught what's his name, Mac. They caught him with creatine. He had creatine in his locker when it wasn't banned at the time, but it's still a type of steroid. And that was during the home run season. So, and the sad thing about Barry Bonds is, okay, just like with Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame as his player accomplishment, but Pete Rose's bat for being the best hitter of all time is in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds, I think jersey, bat, and ball are in the Hall of Fame for breaking the home run record as a single person and for a career. So they are in the Hall of Fame, you know. It's just they didn't get the plaque with their name. But I mean, the script, what they left behind, still shows the accomplishment. Jeffrey Mayer. Gratitude, A-Web. Have a good evening. Okay, definitely Liquor Fire. Definitely say less. You have one as well. You have as one. Thank you for coming to see me. I appreciate it for your support. I'm not gonna go too much longer anyway. I'm not gonna go too much longer. I got a call earlier and cancel some shit. They asked me to make these appointments, and they're like, well, you know, she can't go to this, and that. And we did come from vacation, and she missed a day, but the appointments is the appointment. No, this is what's his name? Thiemann, the receiver. I just like jerseys that sell 19. I got a Cunningham jersey though. I'm about to resend that email. Okay. So now this is a Thiemann jersey. You know, the number 19 here. I love 19. I went on a cruise in 09 and departed from Rome. I visited the Vatican. Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. Who knew COVID would come? Yeah. Light skin. Thielen. Yeah, Thielen. Jason Thielen, that his name? He lives down here. This cat lives down here. But I love jerseys with 19 and the colors. Vikings just need a quarterback. Yeah, they're locked in at $40 million on him if they keep the dude here. But he threw 28, 30 touchdowns, only threw 7 interceptions. But the interceptions he threw lost some games. Kirk Cousins. I need some mugs to block too. And Zimmer, what was always his Achilles is he didn't know how to personnel to play defensive backs. That was his he knew how to get linemen in here. Adam Thielen, that's right. He went to college in he went to Minnesota State. Yep. He went down to Mankato. Used to be called Mankato, University of Minnesota Mankato. One time it was even called Minnesota State. But yeah, yep, that's where he went to school. Do you think it was Mahomes' big contract they used to throw games? Yeah, absolutely. A lot easier to person getting paid a lot. You know, it's about money. You beat cop when you were a cop. We didn't really do that. We just patrolled. Just patrolled. When I was a cop back in 89 to 91, just patrol. Yep, just patrol. Now, when I was on the university, we did overtime, and we would do we would do the traffic control during overtime because you had a lot of like basketball games, football games, and that was the way we got overtime too. Like when I did the Father MC party when it ended up in a riot, that was overtime. That was like my third week on the job, the fucking riot. Cooks a bee. Yeah, Cook is nice. Cook is really nice. Yep. Like neighborhood patrol, no, no. Even the second department I worked for, it was all squad related, squad car related. Why is there a stereotype that cops eat a lot of donuts? Because donut shops stay open 24 hours. That's all. Donut shops stay open 24 hours. A lot of them do. So that's where that comes from. Or they open up super early. Most people work at donut shops, go to work at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So they open. They tend to open up like 6, 5, 6 sometimes too. But most people, I used to date a girl that worked at a donut shop, and she worked something like 3 to 11, something like that. But she had to be to work every day at 3 to start making the donuts. That's why. The best donuts, man. What is it called? Springwater Donuts in Kalamazoo. Oh, they got good, great donuts in Kalamazoo. Raiders fans annoying. Ha ha ha. Raider fans are annoying. Sweet colors though. You got to admit that the Raiders jerseys have always. I was telling my daughter I had a sweet Raiders jacket, and I was going to ref a football game, and like I had got off work, and then I was rushing to go to the game, and I was hungry, so I was eating a little dinner before I went to the game, and sure enough, the end of the sandwich, a big hit a stain, and even dry cleaning couldn't get that stain out of my Raider coat. I was so hurt. I was so hurt because that was my, growing up, I loved the AFL and the NFL. And my AFL team was the Raiders. My NFL team was the Eagles. That's why when you see them play, I think it's 77 Raiders Eagles. Both of my teams had made the finals. So that was one of my favorite teams. Well, I'm gonna do the divination because my butt hurts sitting here. And tomorrow's color, that's why I'm wearing purple. You see, I'm a purple people eater. Let's see. Baseball is making a comeback for the 94 strike. The Sosa McGuire home run chase. Bonds breaking Hank Aaron's home run record. But when the steroids allegation came out, it sent the game back. Yep. Donuts used to be called Alokes. Okay. Who do you think has the best logo? Chicago Blackhawks, hands down. Love when you're on. Thank you for your wisdom. That's very kind, Stacy. Thank you very much. And I will be on tomorrow, Responsible Daddy Hour about 2:30. I will be on picking up the girls tomorrow. So, but thank you. It's very kind words. But yeah, Lorenzo, for sure. That's why they did it. That's why they did it. And so if they go on strike too long, just like they go on strike too long, people are gonna really care less. People are really gonna care less. Yeah. But that's very kind of you, Stacy. But yeah, the Blackhawks by far had the best logo to me. They had the best logo. I thought the Kraken missed it. They had an opportunity to make something unique. The same way with the Titans. I mean, I saw a lot of designs. My cousin put a design for the Titans, and they came up with the ugly colors and the lame design, which made no sense. It was like they wanted it to be an ugly design for some reason. I mean, if nothing else, they should have still called them the Oilers. The Oilers was a bit better design than that ugly Titan design, what they end up making. And that just was ugly. And so sometimes you make it, you have to look at it like they almost like they purposely kill the marketing of it for some reason, because that octopus with the eyes is so stupid. Chicago Blackhawks got the best logo, but Pittsburgh Penguins got the best jerseys of all time. That black and yellow is unmatched. A little too Pittsburgh Steelers kind of. Well, both teams are very old. I don't know. I favor the Blackhawks with the red and black. I love the Raiders as kids because of color and Bo Jackson. Shoot, people forget Bo was more popular than Michael Jordan. People forget that. Bo was more popular than Michael Jordan. They put the budget for Bo Knows compared to the budget for Michael Jordan was about the same. Wasn't more. Bo was on when Bo had his short run when he was playing pro baseball and football. Yeah, that Bo Knows but the Maxes that Bo had, the Chiefs. Uh, Greetings. How many girls do you pick up? Two, just the two. I just pick up the two girls. Yeah, my daughter and her god sister. That's all. Just the two. Yeah. Love Bo. I did too. Hi Valerie. Thank you for joining me. Don't Bo play against Deion Sanders in the Major League Baseball? Yeah, I think they played against each other. Yeah, I think so. And remember, Deion's the only dude. Deion and Jim Thorpe is the only dudes to hit a home run and score a touchdown in the same day. Jordan was on cereal boxes. Yes, he was. I talked about that where you could get the Jordan posters too for the dunk contest. Those are probably a nice little premium. I had put the laminate over. I had put the laminate cover over the Jordan poster I put over when my son was a baby. That's how old that poster was. My son's what 31 going on 32 or 32 going on 30 what 89. It'd be 31. He'll be 32 in August. Yeah. But yeah, Jordan was. But Bo was on TV just as much. And I want to say the Raiders was in LA then too. And then he got hurt, and the way the money thing with Marcus Allen and Al Davis, he tried to bring everybody in to take Marcus Allen's job. But Marcus Allen won him a Super Bowl. Playing two sports at one time is very impressive. Yeah, it is. It really is. Really is. Very impressive. The wear and tear on your body. And Deion, I mean, if you look at that World Series where the Twins beat Atlanta, if Atlanta wins the World Series, Deion is the MVP by far. Arguably, Deion could have been the MVP that World Series. They lost. Deion, that was people don't remember that, but when Deion played against the Twins, Deion had a hell of a World Series. Look up his stats. Deion had a hell of a World Series. They just lost, so people don't talk about it. But that World Series, Deion came to play. And again, but some things they let go as organic. Charles Barkley went to golf with his hesitation hit. I guess the part of golf that I missed is the networking. That's what some people hit me to. They just golf just for the networking. And I did kind of miss that boat. Mayweather wasn't the greatest fighter, but was the smarter fighter to do it. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Because how much of his money does he really have? How much of his money does he really have? Because a lot of times they be lying about how much money they have. Why do they always say Bo is the best athlete ever and never mention Deion? I think Deion was a better athlete than Bo. Since we see nicknames, Washington is going to be called Red Tails due to the Tuskegee, but that could be too much of the changing from Indian to Africans. Yeah, that's a good point. Deion's biggest problem in football was that he couldn't tackle, so maybe that's it. That's a good point too. But he wasn't paid to tackle. He was paid to cover. He was paid to guard people, not to tackle people. There was people in front of him was supposed to tackle. Do you think weather is owned? No, but controlled. I don't think it's owned, but it's definitely controlled to benefit those who own the machines that do it. Oh, I have it in you can look it up in the I do have donations. You can look it up in my it's Cash App 8 capital W Wind Eagle. That's my Cash App. So thank you. If anyone would like to donate, I appreciate it. There's few people that I have, and I appreciate it. Every little bit helps. You see, I'm a very humble person. Hey, Mr. Lamborghini Leg Lock. You catch me at the end. Okay, I'm gonna read this divination. Give you guys a push tomorrow. So tomorrow the energy is going to be from the south. So if you want to manifest and get a little push, get the energy from the south. Another way you can get energy, the color for tomorrow, as you see me wearing, is purple. And so it's shock. This is the wind god. This is the God I pay homage to daily. Storm, fire, rain, final surrender, purification, reunion, activation of the light body, thunder beam, lightning path, initiation by fire, ecstasy of freedom. Symbol is thunder, cloud, lightning, white owl. Numbers 19. 19. See how it's coordinated? I got the purple, I got the 19. Flowers, the purple iris, flower essence, rose of Shannon. Scent is frankincense. Stones are sugarite, purple fluorite, tanzite, shyrite, ametrine. It's a water element, of course, and direction is from the west. Sorry if I said south, it's from the west. Shadow wisdom, denier, fear of the unknown, issues of addiction, strong feelings of despair or separation from source, judging your physical transformational process, feeling of futility and despair. Shadow transformation, step free from denying and judging your experience. Access your higher self to carry you through the intense feelings that accompany profound growth. Turn your transformation over to spirit, surrendering all that perpetuates the illusion of separation. The harmonic wisdom is the freedom of the movement of music. The mantra is clasp hands at the heart, as if in prayer, interlocking the fingers, then with tension, raise the clasped hand above the head, opening them explosively while making a purifying sound. Meditation. Enter the wave of ecstasy beyond the finite dance of the swirling veils. Fragments of the greater self gather, moving homeward, rise up unveiled. Horizons await. Affirmation. I am purifying, transforming myself, igniting the light body, healing all separation. So again, the energy is from the west. If you so desire to try to manifest, that can give you a little push knowing that information. Yes, thank you so much, Valerie. Yeah, that is the Cash App. Thank you so much, Valerie. That's so kind from you. Yep. Thank you so much, Valerie. But this is it right here. Thank you, Valerie. Worst called the baseball history 91 World Series where you see tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow night. Yeah. Oh, it's so many bad calls in baseball. It's like the dude who purposely didn't get that pitcher the no hitter that paid for Detroit. And you know, that guy had a clear view, knew the dude was safe, but he called him out. He called him safe instead of out. That broke up the perfect game. So we see that kind of thing is taken away because it's bonuses when you get that. Chevy was still good enough to give that dude to give that guy a car. Chevy bought him a vet for throwing, what they considered the no hitter. So, yeah. Fila soccer game took out the Russian national team. A lot of them are canceling the Russians teams and not letting them compete. Looks like they're not going to be able to compete for the World Cup if this continues. So we'll see how long it goes. I mean, that's got nothing to do with us Americans, not really. And then they tell you where we need their natural gas, where they set up where it's funny when they talk about cutting their money supply. They didn't say nothing about cutting the natural gas coming in. So, well, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Oh, and I will give the words. I will end with the words of the Time Walkers, which is more, and more is kind of a phrase. It all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had an exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But still, the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent, otherwise known as the Milky Way. And to all my relations out there, I am another yourself. I am another yourself. So treat me as you would treat yourself. Well, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. For those of you that want a little more, I will be on the Responsible Daddy Hours, and thank you for the support of that. And I'm just going to keep putting this information out. I know they only like my sports videos, but I try to put a little something out that I hope helps people. So this has been Big Pontiac on the Chocolate Mountain Show on the Galactic Patio. Till we meet again. Say less.